blessing to others. Now, Lord, hear the prayer you taught us. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. O Lord, forgive us our trespasses. Amen. So today is the second of two chapel talks with readings taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25. Yesterday I talked about the parable of the 10 virgins and those that not only had oil for their lamps, but extra oil. So they had the strength, the patience, the capability of being helpful even in difficult times. So now the parable that's sometimes called the parable of the sheep and goats. Jesus said, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from his goats. And he will set the sheep on his right hand, saying to them, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous people will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you?" And the king will answer and say to them, "Assuredly, I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me." Then he will say to those on the left, "Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, you did not take me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick, and you did not visit me." So here's this scene in the life after death, a time of judgment. And people are divided on the right and left. And the people on the right are told, "Welcome to heaven, because you cared for me," says the infinite God of the universe. And they go, "When did we do that? We don't ever remember doing that." And he said, "Because you did it to the least of those around you." The people who were least able to pay you back, least able to give you a reward, you were doing it because you wanted to be kind. Then the people on the left get told, "Sorry, you're going to hell because you never did these things for me." And they go, "Oh, if we had known it was you, we certainly would have done, He said, "But because you didn't do it to the least." Well, this is a story that has its culmination in a judgment in the life after death. But there's an ancient tale. Many of those ancient tales, I think, have a foundation in some of the wisdom the Lord wants us to know that presents a very different twist on it. And here's how that ancient tale begins. A bad-tempered old widow had 2 daughters. Her older daughter, Fanny, was disagreeable and proud, but looked and behaved like her mother, and therefore was her favorite child. Her younger daughter, Rose, was sweet, gentle, and beautiful, but resembled her late father. Jealous and bitter, the widow and her favorite daughter abused and mistreated the younger girl. So this isn't a nasty stepmother. This is mother, loves the daughter that's like her, dislikes the one that lives a kind life. So what happens is one day the widow tells her daughter, go get us water. The younger daughter goes off to get water at a well. As she's getting water, an old, poor woman asks her for a drink. But it's actually a magical woman who's disguised herself to see whether this person would be kind. Well, Rose says, sure, here, have a drink. And then the woman says to her, because of your kindness, every time you say something, either a jewel or a gold coin or a beautiful flower will come out of your mouth. Well, Rose goes back home, and when she's asked, wait, what took you so long? She starts talking, and these jewels and gold coins come out of her mouth. Her mom says to the older sister, quick, go down there, see if you can find that old woman, and you can have this happen for you. The older daughter, I don't want to do this, grouch, but ends up down at the well. Do you think a poor old woman appears before her? No. Now that magical person disguised herself as a wealthy lady. And she asks the older sister, will you give me a drink? And the older sister, go away. I'm looking for an old lady. And then the magical person says, because you haven't been willing to be kind, every time your mouth opens, frogs and snakes are going to come out. In this story, of course, it seems like the magical woman caused the jewels and gold coins to come out of the younger daughter and caused the snakes and frogs to come out of the older daughter. But part of what I think you can recognize is, to the extent that you've been working at being kind to people, the things that come out of your mouth are just going to tend to be blessings. They're just going to tend to be blessings. You won't have to think about it so much. It will be your habit that you've developed. And so what comes out of your mouth will be good for people around you. On the other hand, if you've developed habits of mostly just thinking of yourself, mostly thinking of how you can make fun of others, mostly trying to compare yourself and so on, what's going to come out of your mouth that's like frogs and snakes? It's just the nature of our lives. We won't see it in this world, but part of what we're told about the life after death is what we're really like on the inside affects how we appear. And I've never heard a story of somebody in the next life speaking and having frogs and toads come out of their mouth or whatever, but it's still a picture of how the core of who their life is appearing in this world. So, parable of the sheep and goats, describing what happens in the life after death, a judgment on the good people and bad people, the people who have really tried to be kind, those that have been self-centered and caring only for what's best for them. In this ancient story, it's something that appears right away. It becomes a part of the person's life from a young age, and you can picture throughout her life with this, that younger daughter, every time she speaks, there's that jewel or piece of gold appearing, a blessing for the people around her. Please rise for a benediction. The Lord give his angels charge over you to keep you in all of your ways. Amen.